Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with...
Christopher!
And we are podcast name in brackets. Christopher, it's been a little bit of a while since we had our last talk. Podcast style, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Last time we were saying that you were gonna be moving to Warrior Titans Songs.
Yes.
And so there you are.
There I am.
Here I am, just waking up.
Yeah.
But we're doing
I've
this.
been up for a little too long.
Yeah. I figured. So how you doing?
How am I doing? Well, it's honestly been a little hard to adjust. Either living on my own, new place, new job, sleep schedule. It's been pretty difficult. But things are moving and moving along well and well enough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Any insights you want to say, or nah?
Any what I want to say?
Insights.
About...
I don't know, whatever.
For those who haven't yet, moving out on your own away from your parents is a necessary step in living your life. It is hard. It can be discouraging, but it's necessary. I feel like there could be more to say to that, but I don't know what else to say right now, honestly, because I feel like there's something else I really want to talk about, if you know what I mean.
The stuff that we've been talking about?
I don't know what's... I feel like there could be multiple stuff we could have been talking about.
That we have been talking about, I mean?
One particular thing is what if, I guess.
Ah, I see. Well, I'm doing good, by the way.
Oh, good, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
How have classes been in the Liberty Corona stuff and all that?
Fine, yeah. Fine. A couple weeks ago, we had to go online for a couple weeks, which wasn't fun. And then we had to go back, which is like even worse. Which is not fun to do that back and forth. But yeah, classes have been fine. I'm taking makeup, which I've showed you some photos of. That's been fun. I have done a beard yesterday.
So this is you doing it on yourself?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I also started a new job.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm
what is this new job?
Working with Greg.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
At Liberty?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been helping him out. I get to work on all the shows now, and so it's been fun.
Nice.
So, Christopher,
tell Greg I said hi.
I shall tell him that you say hi. So, Christopher, what's up? What are we doing?
You want to talk about what if?
Sure. Let's do it.
What's on my mind right now.
Okay.
Because I was so close to like saying something like, "Oh my gosh, this new what if episode," and then I'm like, "No, I think either we'll call or he'll act." So, like, let me just pull up the list of the episodes.
Okay.
Just that I'm not missing something, but I will. I feel like as a whole, the series is just getting better by episode. Like the Captain Carter episode was just so disappointing, and like the T'Challa Star-Lord was a better episode, but I'm not very invested in Guardians of the Galaxy, so it just didn't do much to me. I like the Big Fury, Nick Fury's Big We, as it was like visualized for the first time in the MCU.
Okay.
As a collective story, but it was just heavy, you know. Which also the Doctor Strange episode was pretty heavy, but I loved that one. Like the ending kind of reminded me of like Infinity War, that like, oh, there's no help ending, no, no hope. I just loved it, but like obviously I feel like there's some what if quirks to it that I don't like, but in general, like I loved it. You know what I mean?
Wait, what if quirks? You mean
Yeah, I feel like the show just has some certain quirks that just
the writing and acting that are clearly based for a younger audience?
Well, that's almost ironic because for it even being based for a younger audience, these stories are so much heavier than anything in the MCU live action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And then the zombies was fun. I don't like zombies at all, but I thought it was a fun execution. It felt, because you were talking about like how you felt like what if just isn't really exploring full possibilities, and like still running too similar to the original storyline sometimes.
Yeah.
And so the zombies kind of felt like more of a diversion from the Infinity War. Now it did end with zombie Thanos in Wakanda, so it circled back. But
how it ended up that way, I don't know. But
yeah, I wish that would, and I'm gonna assume it's going to be explored. Or
my assumption is they needed something to end the episode with.
My assumption is that it's going to tie into the last episode.
Maybe we'll see. Because
we're probably not going to get the proper build up, but
I do believe that the Ultron thing will be seen later as well.
I think that's episode 9.
Okay.
From what anyways, just the Killmonger and Tony Stark, I felt like whoever did Tony Stark did a good job of like, for those who enjoyed RDJ, like it didn't feel too foreign, but also felt more just like Tony Stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe this actor voiced in some of the cartoons as well.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
That's cool. And then we essentially me and you just haven't talked about the Thor episode. I'll get to that, but like, did you want to say a few random thoughts about the previous episodes?
Random thoughts. I mean, I can't say in full detail if they're good or bad. I've only seen reaction highlights to it. I don't currently have Disney Plus, but I will watch them when I get the Plus again. That being said, I have said before to you that I felt like a lot of these storylines don't utilize the full potential of a what-if story. And the thing that I love about what-if stories are how they handle other characters and other storylines. Like, how does this one thing that's changed affect other things? And for the most part, I felt that the Star-Lord T'Challa did the best. I'd have to rethink if that's the same now. Did the best by showing us, because he was Star-Lord, Thanos is now a good guy. Gamora has hair. He's actually
Nebula.
So that
But
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gamora wasn't in it, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Sure. They're sisters. That's why I got them
They're
confused.
the same.
Yeah. They're the exact same color too. Anyway, But yeah, like they showed off so many different aspects of what changed. Like, oh yeah, by the way, he's now well known. He's got all these friends. The main villain is the Collector, and the episode ends with, Star-Lord, the real one. He's gonna kill us all now. Um, so it really showed all the dynamics of like how the stories could change versus the other ones like Fury's Week, which mainly focused on that week, which is fine, but it's also like, wait, so what happens next then? Like, you still had, because that story took place with Iron Man 2, you still have Whiplash, that villain, somewhere. I don't know what's going to happen to him. In the Hulk one, you still got Blonsky, who's not yet Abomination, but I'm sure he's still angry about something. Thor, I believe they touched on Loki, so there's not really much to say about that. But, there are no buts. Then there's zombies, and the thing I just wrote to you was, it's just zombies. Okay. But, zombies can be fun, but it's also one of those things where I have seen zombies so many times. I'm sick of them. How many? It is obvious that zombies is probably one of the first thing they thought of when thinking about what if. What if? Well, let's do a zombie episode. All right, yeah, let's do that. Everyone's gonna love that. Well, of course, it's the thing to do. Yeah. Sometimes they do have a little bit of confusing timing, like in the Killmonger episode. I was confused about the timing of everything. And you said that they did not have like a time skip, like a 5 years later type thing. I'll take that as a no.
I don't remember. Because I think, like I mentioned over text, like if there was anything, it would have been 6 months max.
Okay.
And especially, I feel like most of those events happen within the first Iron Man movie time period, as far as I understand.
Yeah, it's also like it's at that time. That's the year 2008, and Black Panther doesn't happen until 2018. So that's 10 years apart, and a lot of those characters still look, for the most part, the same as their older counterparts, especially Killmonger. I think he should be younger. Shuri should definitely be a little bit younger. You said that she looked shorter.
I felt like so. I was like during that episode, I was just
she's
thinking
just
like
short in general.
And then I was kind of wondering that too, but I don't know super well to assume.
Yeah, but who knows?
I feel like we both agree these episodes, at the very least, could be longer, like 45 minutes. Because
did I say that?
I don't know. I thought you agreed with me. I know I said it, but maybe you didn't agree with me. But
You said it. I explained why they probably wouldn't do that. But,
animation,
animation and time,
Yeah, I'm just like if you, because I think we both have details, and I feel like if there was, I think that was more my argument after the first Peggy Carter episode. It was just rushed so much. I guess another thing I'm a little surprised about is the fact that like all these other shows, we've had various times for each episode. It was never like a hard like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour for each episode. Like WandaVision's the best example. first episode's 25 minutes. The last episode's 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm just a little curious. Like, why do these people feel the obligation to stick to 30 minutes for these at least first 8 episodes? From what I'm hearing, the last episode will be the longest. But like, you're not. It's debuting on a streaming service. You're not bound to a hard 30 minutes.
No, but I believe like sticking to a good time helps you formulate your things better. Even though they do have some issues in that front, but typically you do want to keep your animation shows on a consistent around number. Like even if they're on a streaming platform, you just got to be consistent and keep on schedule because.
And that's the thing. I
on a
wish
schedule.
I wish like the shows in general were more consistent in time. Like WandaVision, I feel like I can kind of excuse, but like the Falcon or Loki, like Loki, I think we had episodes that were like 55 minutes and episodes that were like 35 minutes, and like that's a pretty large gap. I don't know. It's just like it. It kind of works in terms of storytelling, but in general consistency, it's weird. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's part of me that's glad to say episode 3 was. I think that one was like 35 minutes, and if that episode was an hour long, man, I would. It felt long enough.
Yeah, it did.
So I don't know. It's weird in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I legitimately thought that like, oh, now I think Disney Plus will do well for Disney, but like if you were ever to change a platform or decide to air them on TV or something like that, the episodes are not made for TV if we're having various run times like this.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, What If is so far the only one, but again, like I heard, the last episode's going to be longer. Potentially even hitting an hour, but
that makes sense. Because sometimes they'll go longer for like the big finales or openings, depending on what they do.
With the Thor episode, though, I will say, I think that's legitimately my favorite episode.
Oh, okay.
From the initial watch, I feel like I could go back and change my mind, but I felt like this was almost like Thor Ragnarok meets a Hallmark movie. And I was just laughing my head off because either the moments that were just cringy or genuinely hilarious, I just had a good time. So maybe at the end of the day, it's not the best, but I think that episode I had the most fun with.
Sure.
I guess you didn't think the same thing?
I mean, I don't really care so much about the initial concept of the episode. Party Thor, like, oh, okay, well, whatever. It's not really. I will say they did touch on some what if stuff, like they showed us Loki. But again, I don't know, some of the weird timing. Especially when it came to the end, after first watching, it's like, wait a minute, how did that happen? That's years from now. What's going on? I don't know.
That's multiverse travel.
Well, we didn't really know that at first. It's like, but now that we're thinking about it, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because the Watcher was even confused as well. So yeah, Ultron with the gauntlet, for me, was the best part of the episode because I felt like that was the more exciting story.
What's the most amazing fact is we're gonna be seeing Ultron actually entering his Vision body.
Yes. And now that's a what if story that's good because what ifs are typically done. So what if this person succeeded? Here, their what ifs are kind of more out there than
Mm-hmm.
actually based on what was put in the episode themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Loki, I get no. The Thor one, I guess, kind of follows the same one, but with him giving back the baby. The Peggy Carter one, there was a clear choice there, yeah. But the other ones, like the Hank Pym one, wasn't so clear. Of there was a choice made from the movies themselves that changed reality. No. He was just something else happened before that,
Mm-hmm.
off camera. So yeah, that should be exciting to see.
I think Marvel is both good and terrible at this one fact, connecting dots. They're really good at like connecting like Easter egg dots. But when it comes to
Yes,
plots, they tend to fail.
I do suppose that. Yeah.
So the 8th episode is, do you want me to say or not?
Uh, no,
No. Okay.
no. I'll just wait.
Because the craziest thing for me is the fact that they essentially teased the last episode in episode 7. You know what I mean? So
You know,
unless that actually has a factor in episode 8, which I don't think so, but also I'm trying to think it could somehow, and I don't know how. And now I think this is the first time I'm actually invested
yeah,
in like, oh my gosh. Like I think I was telling my brother Cornelius, like, okay, so I essentially know the concept of what's going to happen in the last episode. How are they going to execute it? I don't know. Therefore, I'm excited. Now, with actually having the tease of the last episode, now I'm like almost like, oh my gosh, I'm really excited for this last episode.
mhm. I mean, I knew about the Thor episode not because of like hearing any rumors. I'm just watching my TV, and there's a Nissan commercial, and they're just
Mm-hmm.
the Nissan commercial where they're trying to
Yes.
plug in the Disney Plus, and so they have that one with Loki, like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
living on borrowed time, do you really have to return it? And then the one in Falcon. And
But
there's a new version where they have the what if. And there we have Thor driving a Nissan, like happy, like punching some Ultrons, and it's like, oh, okay. Why are you showing me that now? I haven't seen that episode.
I know, like you've essentially teased the last, like I feel like the promotion of this show has been like the weirdest, because typically now we don't know the end result, but I guess they're teasing in such a way because they know people aren't that interested in the show, so they're giving away as much as they can without giving away as much as they can
I think
to get
people
people to
are.
watch
I
it.
don't know. I think people are interested more so
Because
in seeing on the wacky ideas than the actual quality.
honestly, most of the people I've talked to have essentially said, since it's animated, I don't see how this fits into anything. Therefore, some people are legitimately like, I'm going to watch it regardless, and other people are legitimately like, I don't think I'm going to watch it. I haven't heard people be like, I'm excited to watch this. Uh, the people I've talked to in person.
All right.
So, I mean, because like Tom Hiddleston actually not spoiled it, but he actually said in an interview that what if affects the MCU, and that was the first confirmation we got, and that was sometime right after Loki, I think. And so I'm like, cool, but like I said, I think what if was my second most anticipated release of this year,
Mm-hmm.
next to Spider-Man, because
Yeah.
I wanted to see these alternate concepts. And then now knowing that it affects the MCU, and I don't know how. I know the movie. I don't know if I want.
Speaking of Spider-Man,
Not Spider-Man.
No.
No. Should I say?
What?
From what I'm understanding, What If will not affect the Spider-Man movie. It affects a different movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know which one?
Yeah, the Doctor Strange one.
Okay, that's another crazy thing about Doctor Strange. Well, first off, I just wasn't sure. I guess we talked about whatever, so I guess I shouldn't try to filter spoilers because we just talked about them. With the Doctor Strange movie, do you remember what the name of that movie is?
Multiverse of Madness.
What's the full name?
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
That's actually wrong. It's actually Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
I feel like now that's almost more intriguing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because typically it's but this time it's in. And so
Is it an important detail? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
maybe not, but I think that makes it more intriguing.
Sure.
But I think it is.
You get excited, my man.
Yeah,
I'll wait for the trailers.
Because like I think since like this whole I can't say this whole year because I started watching in March, but essentially since Falcon and Loki, I've been very like disappointed in the stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, What If was also disappointing, and then Shang-Chi was really enjoyable, and then now What If is really like becoming enjoyable, and then we got the Spider-Man trailer. I'm just now like I'm not obsessed, but I'm really excited.
Did you see the Hawkeye trailer?
I did. What were your? I don't know what to think. I'm gonna watch it, but it's not like I'm excited for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like it is kind of stylized after a Christmas action movie,
Which that I think is fun. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's gonna be a draw for me because I didn't know it was gonna be Christmas based. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be fun.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I do like Hawkeye as a character, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly gonna set up his replacement,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm slightly disappointed that it's not his daughter.
Mm.
It's just this random other archer that just shows up and it's like, I'm the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go, girl.
You haven't seen Black Widow yet,
No,
but the end credit.
I know that the villain's gonna be one of the main characters in Black Widow, supposedly.
The what?
The end credit scene teased a possible villain for Hawkeye.
But that's the crazy thing. That villain was not teased in the trailer at
No,
all.
I know. Why would they?
Why would they? Well, you teased it in the end credit scene.
I think that they want to just surprise the audience so that they don't know when she's going to show up.
Uh-huh. I don't know. Because what I'm reading about the series, essentially his replacement taking on his endgame identity
Mm-hmm.
is the conflict of the story. And I legitimately thought it was going to be what they teased at the end of Black Widow. So if they don't really,
It might still.
yeah, I mean they've been pretty good at throwing in surprises throughout a show, but I don't know. We'll see. But if they don't properly flesh out that storyline, then that means Hawkeye himself would return eventually.
Not unless they kill him.
That is, that would be such a tragic ending. But like, yay, you have your own show. Now let's kill you.
Yeah.
Also, another thing about the Hawkeye thing, which I find really intriguing, is that it seems to be more anticipated than I realized it was going to be. It surpassed. It has the most likes out of the Disney Plus trailers for the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was personally surprised because Loki is such a big deal on Stan Twitter. I didn't realize there was so much hype around Hawkeye. So I find that intriguing.
Sure. I'll watch it when I watch it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna watch it when it releases, but I'm not like excited for
I'm
it.
just old. I'm tired.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, speaking of old and tired, let's talk about Spider-Man.
Okay. What about Spider-Man?
I don't know. We had the trailer. We talked about it a little bit offside of the podcast, but we did have Andrew Garfield. My gosh.
He's trying so hard.
Mm-hmm. The theory is that he's not even trying anymore. He's just trolling. Did you see his interview?
Yes, I did.
It's clearly Photoshop.
But I love the fact that like he went from flat out not knowing it existed to denying it, but knowing what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like he's not trying almost. But and then the fact that he just and then after is like it's not Photoshop. He's like I'm trying to subvert expectations. Like you're in it.
It's just hilarious.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I do appreciate the fact that he's saying like this is Tom Holland's movie, and I think kind of reminding the fans about that. Like despite Garfield and Maguire being in the movie, it's not their movie. It's still Holland's movie.
Right.
So I think that aspect I can respect. And despite him just not doing a good job, like, yeah, it's going to be awesome to see them in it, but it's not their movie. They're going to be in the movie, but they're going to be supporting characters.
Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man's coming out. I'm excited to see it.
I'm excited.
Just to see them old characters again.
Uh-huh.
Even if it's just the villains.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see when we see.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go to a movie theater for once to see it.
I know you are.
It's not even the
there's no
dollar
way
theater.
you could wait for
it's
this.
the big theater with the $12 tickets.
Did I tell you about my Shang-Chi
IMAX? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Front row
Yeah,
seat.
you sat in the front row.
Terrible idea. Not doing that again.
Yeah. And then I was telling you about IMAX and normal theaters, how they're different.
Doctor Who or
Doctor
Star Trek
Who.
you saw in theaters?
I saw Doctor Who in theaters, yeah.
Yeah.
That 50th anniversary special, for those who were wondering. But yeah, IMAX.
What a time.
Yeah. And then I explained to you why I don't want to watch an IMAX movie, because they're different than what you'll see when you get the DVDs, because they're based on the theatrical version. Which was a shame, because Batman vs Superman added more in the IMAX because they had a bigger frame. And speaking of that, the Snyder Cut of Justice League is on DVD now.
Yes.
And Warner Brothers, in their infinite wisdom, chose to bury that sucker by not mentioning it at all in any advertisements or anything at all. And this is further fact by the fact that they do indeed have a trailer to advertise the release of the Blu-ray and DVDs, but they have left it unlisted on their channel. Never published.
I'm surprised people found it in the first place.
Yeah, those are dedicated fans who just found the leak, and only the people who share them with each other have been able to watch it. But yeah, that's
It's like they're ashamed of it.
I don't think it's that they're ashamed. It's just like I just think they're so petty that like this movie is preferred than the one that they prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then once I heard that, I went straight to the store and bought it just to support the Snyder Cut.
So, question with that is Snyder Cut in 4K or IMAX on DVD?
There's no IMAX on DVD. It's 4K is the highest.
But the streaming version was IMAX.
No, the aspect ratio was IMAX.
Oh, that's what I meant. Aspect ratio.
I believe the aspect ratio is the same.
Aspect ratio on DVD? Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Uh-huh. I thought that'd be something you'd be like, oh, I must see.
It's 4 hours long, Christopher.
You don't have to watch the whole thing to find out.
I have to watch the whole thing. You know, I can't just put on 10 minutes of a movie, Christopher. Who do you think I am? You?
Yes.
Either I watch a whole movie, depending on what the movie is, or I not watch it.
Okay.
Unless it's the reaction highlights.
Yeah. Which I'm still surprised you're doing that, because honestly, after like,
it's just for the shows. I haven't done it for the movies.
Fair. I don't know. So, did you see the reaction highlights of like Falcon and Winter Soldier then?
No.
Okay. Which I'm straight. I'll be honest. I don't think is a great show. But I was just curious. That's all.
No, I didn't. I watched. No, I didn't watch them. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Also, at that time, I had Disney Plus. I just didn't watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I feel like the most Falcon and Winter Soldier does is set up characters, because you essentially know the ending. So all it does is set up characters for the future. Kind of just like the Black Widow movie. Mm-hmm. Both of them.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, still watching Smallville.
What season are you on?
I'm near the end of season 6.
Out of 10.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, except like I'm slowing down because of work. Mm-hmm. And so it's like...
How much are you working a week?
It's mainly like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
But it's like I have less energy to watch it, so I just end up watching one episode at a time, which that's how normal people do it. But
yeah,
I just want to get through the show already.
You're already tired of it?
It's not so much I'm tired of it. It's just like I want to do other stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm at the end of season 6.
Mm-hmm. How's that one character that we were talking about?
Oh, she got worse.
Oh, yay. We love that.
Oh, we love that. It's mind-boggling how they just... Oh my gosh. She got so worse. Like, especially in this season alone. It's so bad. Like, she's so confusing. And, like, she's so back and forth. Like... And... especially in this season, she's very self-entitled. So yeah, beginning of the season, guy has a rock And she's like, hey, you should send that back to the government. He doesn't. Instead, he on his own tries to weaponize it. She finds out. It's like, what? Like, you're weaponizing it? It's like, no. Either you're with me or that rock goes. Um, and it's like, wait, what? But you said to send it to the government. They're gonna weaponize it anyway. Anyway, she later episode. She's like, we have these people who have abilities. Let's learn about them and weaponize it. A few episodes later, I can't believe you're experimenting on these people. It's like, what's going on, lady? Are you are you are you for it? Or are you not for it? You like, do you not realize what you're doing? I don't know. It's it's part of the whole drama
Mm-hmm.
between her and like the main character because they're old love interests. And they still have feelings for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's dating this other guy. She's gonna get married. Oh, she was pregnant. But no, yeah, it is. By the way, the last episode, she lost the baby. Not only that, apparently it wasn't a normal baby. It was an experiment.
Oh my gosh.
So
So the show
it
is
made me
kind of
so
starting to go
mad.
down decline.
Well, no, it's like that's the only bad part. The other stuff is pretty good,
So
but
it's
it's just
essentially
like
her.
she's the main problem. She's overstayed her welcome, and I'm just like, go somewhere else, please. You're making me not enjoy this show. That's actually pretty good.
Well, not my fault.
No, it's not your fault.
Wow. That's rough though. Like that'd be the one thing that ruins it all.
Yeah, yeah. Like she went from being, oh yeah, she's a nice character to just like, oh, she's overstayed, and now she's like, oh, okay. By the way, she's fully admitted her feelings to the main character, and she wants to be with him, but she can't, because if she does, then he'll die. If I've never seen a soap opera, that's what it's like. That's a soap opera for you right there.
And so with that, have you restarted Max or not?
No, not
No.
yet.
Still pretty meh about that.
I mean, I'll get back to MASH eventually. I'm doing other stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I have HBO Max again.
Mm-hmm. So are you watching now?
But the reason why I have that is because right now it's 50% off,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
Yeah. For how long?
6
month?
months.
6. Ooh.
Yeah.
So
Better.
are there things on your list that you want to watch or not?
So right now they have a new season of Titans and Doom Patrol. You don't know what those are.
Is Titans DC?
Yeah, they're both DC.
Oh, they both are. Okay.
I'm mainly watching it for some DC stuff.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I can tell you about.
Okay, so I had something, sorry, related, unrelated.
Okay.
And then there's something you sent me that I want to ask about. But that thought reminded me of something. So,
Okay.
So I was thinking about Cornelius, right? That, he went through the MCU, and I've been kind of trying to push him to watch the old Spider-Man movies without spoiling the Spider-Man movie that's releasing, right? Right?
Yeah.
So essentially, like the because he was able to he didn't know that much about the MCU. Obviously, like he knew probably Infinity War, Endgame, kind of like just like everybody. But just like me, most of the rest of the MCU, like going through it, didn't know that much about it. Biggest example, Thor Ragnarok. Hulk was a prominent part of the promotions. He had no idea Hulk was going to be in it. So imagine his genuine surprise seeing the Hulk come out.
Yeah.
Like I'm even I knew, but like it was the coolest thing to be able to keep him surprised, and he's trying to maintain that as much as possible, which I respect. But as he well knows, it's hard. So he's deliberately not watching trailers for stuff. So he's just, but especially with this upcoming Spider-Man movie, I think he's going to find out about some things. Something like Shang-Chi, probably not. Even something like that, he doesn't want spoilers for. But I'm like Spider-Man, like that's essentially 2021's Infinity War Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I don't think there's going to be a heavy Thanos demands your silence campaign. Once people see it, they're going to talk about it. So I remember after going through the MCU, he's like, "So what should we watch?" I'm like, "What if we watch old Spider-Man movies?" He's like, essentially his argument, and I completely understand it because I said the same thing. Essentially, was, well, if it's not part of the MCU, what's the point? You know what I mean? And I said the exact same thing because I'm like, well, the MCU is what I know, and I don't really want to go beyond it because just once I'm comfortable with something, do I really want to see something else? For example, do I really want to see another iteration of Iron Man when RDJ has done it so well? And so Cornelius is comfortable with the Spider-Man he knows, so it's weird seeing a different iteration, which it was for me too. Seeing someone else play Spider-Man or a different portrayal of that Spider-Man. And so, and I'm like, I'm not going to force you, but like, I'm encouraging you to. And I was just trying to see how I could convince him without telling him what's up. But one line I said kind of essentially gave him the idea. Like, neither of us confirmed it to each other, but he's like, I think you just kind of, but at the same time, that didn't necessarily convince him.
What did you say?
So then I don't remember what I said. I wish I could remember. But somehow the way I phrased something essentially gave him the idea that it would affect the MCU somehow. And then we were talking about what if, and he was giving me his thoughts about what if. And I'm like, and he's essentially kind of like, don't tell me what you think or know because, I want as much surprise. But during that conversation, we had two of these. So during the second one, I'm kind of like, Cornelius, here's the deal. I don't know how they're going to execute it, but you do essentially kind of know how What If is going to end up in the finale, just like me. And essentially, I'm like, here's the thing. The old Spider-Man movies is essentially What If or what's coming up. Because he knows that What If affects the MCU. Because I think he was in a similar spot as like, well, if it's animated, I'm not going to watch it. And then I found out it's part of the MCU. He's like, fine, I'm going to watch it. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, just like What If is going to affect the future movie, these old Spider-Man movies are going to affect the future. Obviously, the new Spider-Man movie. So I think at this point, that kind of convinced him. I don't know when he's going to get to it. And he has time because he's not going to be able to see it in theaters. So he has more time than I do. But it's on his list to watch through the MCU chronologically. So that will come at some point, not during that period, but probably sometime afterward. Mm-hmm. So that's on his list. But as a result, I created something. I don't have a name for it, but I have the Marvel cinematic releases split up into categories. And I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
So category 1 is essentially the sacred timeline, essentially the MCU. So category 2, I've nicknamed from one branch to the MCU. So that's essentially What If, the Maguire and Garfield Spider-Man movies. Not yet confirmed, but potentially Daredevil from Netflix, and Deadpool 1 and 2. I think it kind of makes sense because Deadpool 3 is set in the MCU, and I don't think Deadpool 1 and 2 will be, quote, part of the MCU. And I don't know if Deadpool is going to come out of the multiverse into the MCU. That could happen, but it could also just be Deadpool just appears as if he's been in the MCU the whole time. And Daredevil, I think more than anything, it's more or less going to be his character is going to be transferred over than anything else. I guess similar to Deadpool, but we'll see. I haven't seen the Deadpool movies, so I don't know. But the idea is, we're going to be taking these characters from one universe to the sacred timeline or the MCU. So those are what I call the category 2 releases. So essentially, if you want further context into category 1, the MCU, then you probably should watch category 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have no intentions of watching Daredevil or Deadpool anytime soon. But, category 3, from the MCU to another branch. So the ABC Marvel shows, Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I fully believe is that. As much as I would love Agent Carter to be part of the MCU, the TV show, it's just not. So I'm completely buying it as how they were, like that first What If episode. It's like that one thing different, creates a whole. I guess even what Loki was teasing, the whole another universe, and that's what I'm categorizing the ABC Marvel shows. There's one change, I don't know what it was, and obviously it's not advertised, but it's like, okay, so if you want essentially a what if of Agent Carter or Phil Coulson, that's that. That's how I'm personally choosing to view those. And then there's something else I have on this list. Have you been seeing stuff in regards to the second Venom movie?
Not very closely.
The end credit scene of Venom 2 has been leaked.
Okay.
Should I say?
Go ahead. Spoilers for those who don't want to hear this.
Yes.
Give us 60 seconds and come back.
Essentially, I don't know the character super well, but whether it be Venom or whoever's in Venom, I don't know how they portray it. But I think Venom turns on the TV, and there is Tom Holland Spider-Man, and he says, "I hate that guy."
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to be the next Venom movie or whatever project, but Sony essentially renamed their universe. I don't remember what the old name was, but I think it's currently called Sony's Extended Spider-Man Universe. And so as a result, like I'm throwing Sony's Extended Spider-Man Universe into category 3, as we're going to basically be seeing Tom Holland jumping from our MCU timeline into this other universe. Because there's been teasing of the multiverse and, Tom Holland interacting somehow.
Sure.
And
yeah,
there's
I think
no way that this is going to be part of the MCU, but
Mhm.
it incorporates the MCU, and I'm throwing it category 3.
That's time. It's 60 seconds.
Oh, wow. I did a good job there.
Well, I think it's maybe 70, but it's you did good. After that time, you didn't spoil anything really. Maybe you did. I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then I have a 4th category, and this is an abstract category, but I'm calling it a foreign branch. So essentially, this is up for debate. But like my main examples here is the Marvel Netflix shows. And Daredevil could technically be part of it, but technically not. Into the Spider-Verse, and essentially everything else Marvel, whether it be a comic or a movie, because these are things that are not interacting with the MCU at all. Now, Into the Spider-Verse, I feel like especially could have the most potential, and potentially even the Netflix shows in the future. But right now, they are a foreign branch that it has not touched the MCU to any degree. And then plus, there's been other, old Captain America or Nick Fury movies and just the comic books. Like, these are foreign branches that haven't intersected with the MCU. And essentially, like, if you want more Marvel content, awesome. But definitely not as important as Category 3. And Category 3 is not as important as Category 2. But I feel, what's your thoughts on this? Because I feel like I've split this up. I'm very happy with this thing that I've created.
I think you set it up in a way that makes sense if you're based on the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, like, who grew up watching the other movies, it's like, well, yeah, I guess that works.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally do things from, like, a watch order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, release order, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, this came out earlier because, like, parts of it influence others.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think for people who just want to focus on MCU stuff, you did a good job at dividing things in a good fashion.
Yeah.
Daredevil, not yet confirmed. Yeah, that's a changeable thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, I think you got it right there. Good job.
Yeah. You made an interesting point about the influences, and so I think like the Hulk movies, or at least the 2003 Hulk is like a good example of like where the 2008 Hulk was essentially both a continuation and a reboot if you look at it in such a way. And so I really enjoyed the 2003 Hulk movie. It's not Marvel tier production, sorry, MCU tier production, but like for the way that the story was executed, I loved it. Especially in comparison to the Incredible Hulk. So, like I definitely, and it's really cool to see kind of like the influences, or like namely for the Incredible Hulk, just like okay, how they kind of picked it up or rebooted it at the same time. You know what I mean? It was, and I think that is fun. And so like there's part of me that would be intrigued to see other. Like you have high praise for the Hulk TV series. Is that on my list anytime soon? No, but seeing that some people really do like it, or seeing those influences, or I guess even just seeing a better version of the Hulk, as the MCU is, I don't feel like treated the Hulk as well as it could have, because you're just bouncing around so many characters, and then you got Iron Man and Captain America, who's essentially stole everybody's heart, so you focus so much on them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I'm very, and yeah, especially since the MCU, the Loki show has snottily essentially termed the MCU as the sacred timeline, the ultimate whatever. It's like then that was essentially like the core of the list. Obviously, one thing for my brother to explain to him what not to watch, and I think both of us are not into Daredevil, or but to be able to understand these things. So maybe if my tolerance level goes up, then maybe I'll watch Daredevil one day. But that's not on my list anytime soon. You know what I mean? But yeah. So with that, you texted me that. I want to find a specific thing that you sent me because it intrigued me. You said, I'm working on a little project for you. Hope it helps. And the only thing I could think of was Star Wars, which I'm not doing anytime soon. But I don't know what other project you could be thinking of.
Well, it's not Star Wars.
Okay, that makes me happier.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not Star Wars.
Yay. Okay, what is this little project? Can you tell me or not?
I could.
You could. Do you want to like flesh it out more, or?
I mean, essentially, it's similar to what you did with Cornelius.
Oh, really?
You set up this watch ordering category.
Uh-huh. Not a watch order, but the categorization of the importance of things as it relates to the MCU.
Yes.
So you have a watch order for me.
So I have like an introduction to something, and this is how I would set things up for you. But I also said that you could just skip around if you just feel like wanting to do something else.
Uh-huh. So my guess is Superman because we were talking about Smallville.
Superman.
Then I guess I'm wrong. What is this? I'm intrigued. Spiderman?
No. Should I tell you?
It's your call.
Okay.
I guess you're still working on it.
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Okay, that's fair.
I've done a lot of work on it already.
Oh wow. Okay.
But like, there's still a lot of work left to do.
Okay.
Because like, I'm not only am I labeling what the thing is, I'm also describing why this is important and how how it's influenced, or what's the audience reaction to this, or like, is this thing notable? Because this, I want to talk to you.
It's your call.
I want to talk to you about it so bad, but it's like, I do want to. I don't exactly want to talk to you about it, and you have no idea what the document looks like.
Uh-huh. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I can respect that. My fear right now though is the fact that not just right now, but the fact that you teased it in the first place makes me worried that once you tell me or show me what it is, that I'm gonna be disappointed.
No, I'll just tell you the basic name of the project. It's an introduction to the DC universe.
Okay.
And
now, with that, I think, like I similarly said with like Star Wars, I'm not planning to get into it anytime soon.
I know.
But
if
it
you
would
ever
still be
were,
cool to have on hand. Yeah.
If you were, this is helpful.
And also,
it's a long history with a lot of projects, and you don't know how to navigate it.
Oh, I really don't. Because I was about to say, when you were talking about when you got HBO Max with those two shows, and I'm like, man, there's so much of DC that I cannot just wrap my head around. And I'm like, I don't know where to start, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to watch it. So I don't want to, almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel more comfortable watching Star Wars, if you know what I mean. So I feel like there's less things of Star Wars compared to DC. And actually, I'll be honest, I think also with the visual level. Because I feel like when I talked about when I first watched the MCU was because of the class, and one of the genres is action adventure. So essentially, the two things I was down to was Marvel and Star Wars, because I knew DC has some visual stuff. So yeah, I'm just not into gore. So with the I'm going to be honest, I'm more into watching Star Wars than DC. But whether this being a passion project of yours or for me to have on hand whenever I want to start.
Now, don't worry. I will give you a Star Wars one as well later down the line. But
yeah.
This was, I also wanted to create this list for myself. so that I could just have one, but like you gave me an opportunity to just create one. And so that's what I'm
That kind
doing.
of makes me happy.
Yes. So I can give you like part of the labels. So I start off with the golden standard. Which of course it's like this is the best representation of all the characters in their prime that we are striving towards. And then after that, I then go into something called the other gold-like standards, which are good. It's hard to describe unless like you read what I'm saying here. And then after that, I have something called the essentials, which may not be essential, but they are the stories that inspired. It basically the comic book stories that a lot of movies take influence from. Then I go into the films.
Where I'm assuming Nolan is in?
Yes. And I think I did include when I talked about Nolan. Let me find that. I said, what did I say? Okay. This is a good introduction to Batman for those who aren't interested in a comic book styled movie.
So would you liken those Batman movies to be more like the Maguire movies or not?
No.
No.
Why I said that is because this is probably this takes a more realistic look on how we can have this character.
Okay.
From Nolan's perspective.
That makes sense.
That's why I said that.
Okay. So it's kind of because, like, I've talked about, like, sometimes how I feel like sometimes reality isn't well portrayed in movies. So essentially, that is if Batman was a reality in a movie.
Yes.
That's really intriguing, honestly.
I do also put a little tagline in each thing if I have to say viewer discretion is advised.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Is there one for that for the Batman or not?
For The Dark Knight, not so much.
Okay.
For the Nolan trilogy, not so much.
Okay.
The other things, for sure. For sure. Other things for sure that they have. I was yeah. And so I did the movies. Right now I'm working on the shows. Also labeled
that's
as
a complicated part.
It is so complicated. So right now I'm gonna focus on the shows, otherwise known as a larger universe.
That's a good way of putting it.
So I am going to focus on the shows in this list that are part of each other. And then I'll have one other category about everything else that I missed. By the way, this is a super long document already.
I bet. How many pages?
16. And I haven't even touched the shows. And it's like, I also, when I'm giving this...
So that's just the movies, essentially, you're saying?
The movies, some animated stuff, and the stories. Yes.
Wow.
But I also, in some descriptions, I like, I'm talking to you and just... So, the last thing, that I wrote here. The show is a larger universe. Wait, you're saying there's more? Ha 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 ha. Of course there's more. Did you think we were finished? We're not even at the halfway point.
Oh my gosh.
Which is true if you considered how many hours there are of television compared to the films.
Right.
Which, yeah.
So now I'm almost curious. How would you say a DC version of this is more interesting than a Marvel version of this list? Because I feel like just with Marvel, they've done such a good job with the MCU that that's essentially their representation of Marvel visually. You know what I mean? And then while like I feel like the other things are more or less supplemental. Like, do you kind of know what I mean?
Yeah, kinda. Best represented.
Because the thing is with the DC stuff, they've not had something consistent. That's why you're making this to pick out things to make something incohesively cohesive.
Yeah, and to show you what influenced what.
I feel like something Marvel would be a little too streamlined or even more out of the place and less interesting because we already have the MCU.
Yeah, it's also I have more knowledge on DC than I do.
Okay. Okay.
Because it's like sense. On DC, I pretty much watched almost everything. Almost everything.
How's the new Suicide Squad movie?
I haven't seen it. It's not on the list. Because I haven't seen it.
Right.
Also, it's definitely the tagline is viewer discretion heavily advised.
Yeah, I heard like first 30 seconds in it.
My gosh. Like, yeah, I saw some clips and it's like, wow, this is so bad. Like, I mean, gory bad, for sure. It's like, wow, that's probably the most goriest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. I can't show this to my kids. So yeah, that's the project I'm working on.
Well, thank you.
Which I didn't think that you were going to get into it, but
well, it's nice to have on hand though.
Yes.
So you mentioned Star Wars, so I was going to ask.
Star Wars is an easier thing to go over.
Yeah, I know. But the anime.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch it? I didn't watch it.
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna watch it when I get Disney Plus again.
Okay, so you are interested in it to some degree.
Yes, I am interested.
So that's something you're not gonna watch highlight clips for. You're just gonna watch.
No, I'm gonna have to wait.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if you were excited or not because I feel like some people, not necessarily same with What If, but the fact that it recapped stuff, they just felt like it wasn't. You're curious.
I'm very curious in how it's done because it's not connected to Star Wars.
Okay.
It's not part of any continuity. It's just how do these anime studios, how do they think Star Wars looks to them? Essentially, is what it is.
Gotcha. I heard a rumor about Star Wars, but I don't know if I should say it.
Yeah, just tell me. I'm in everything.
Okay, because there's something. I have a follow-up question to it.
Okay.
That Star Wars is it's pre-production or production.
Can you repeat that?
That is essentially. I don't know what stage of production they're on with this. Probably pre-production. But they're working on something that would essentially be their equivalent to What If.
I don't believe that's true.
You don't think so? Because
No.
I was going to ask if that's what Redacted was involved with.
No, I think that Star Wars Visions is kind of the what if.
You think so?
Yeah. But no, I don't think they ever announced a what if story. Many fans have said
They didn't announce. I'm saying that it's in production. So
no, it's
so much in production that it hasn't been announced yet. You know what I mean?
I don't believe it's announced, or I don't know. I don't believe it's in production.
Okay.
Fans said that they would like to see something.
Uh-huh.
I personally don't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing about that.
Okay. If this anime thing isn't that, would you like to see something like that?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Yeah, not really. I'd rather they just focus on their main stories.
Uh-huh. That's fair.
Than do that side stuff.
Mm-hmm. So with with the anime thing, that's essentially the other studios are doing it, and Disney simply just distributing it. Correct?
Sure, yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
They gave them like full control on how they could do the story.
Okay. Is this something that's going to be continued past these 9 episodes?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think. I think it's like if this does well, then maybe they'll go into more.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anyway, we're hour 15 in this podcast.
And I can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah. We should probably stop the podcast because
Yeah, we probably should.
enough. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Goodbye.